name is Chion from APLF, and I'm the host of today's webinar. If you are the first time here, I would like to welcome you, and if you have attended our previous webinars, I would like to say thank you to your support and be with us again. In the following weeks, we will invite speakers from the leather and fashion industry to share their viewpoints with you. So please stay tuned on our website and social media platforms. Let me give you some basic information about using Zoom. If you want to check with all the panelists and attendees, simply select the message recipients from the drop-down menu of the chat box. Then you can type your message. And if you have any question during the webinars, please type the question in the Q&A box, and you will see this icon at the bottom of the screen. And we will share and answer them during the Q&A sections. So let's talk about our speakers today. We have the great honor to have Sabrina and Aldo from ICEC, the Institute of Quality Certification of the Leather Sectors, to be our speakers today. Sustainability is a hot topic over the globe, not only in the fashion industry, but all around us in our daily life. As a tannery, a brand, or a retailer, what kind of sustainability tests should I do? And there are plenty of certificates in the market. What are the differences and which ones should I apply? I believe Sabrina and Aldo can answer your questions. So, hello Sabrina and Aldo, how is the situation in Italy right now? Stop video. Mute. Can you stop broadcast? Tắt xin cho lục cô. Thời gian muốn lục không được.
Health and safety now to guarantee that there is no problem for workers, but they are working, and we are happy that now we can go on with our activities.
So that's a good news. Shall we begin your presentations?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So we can start sharing your screen.
Yes, I would like only to say a few words before start my presentation with the slides. As you told to the attendees, I am Sabrina Frontini, the director of ICEC, and today with me is also Cavezzali Aldo, which is the technical responsible for the certification, and he will help me as a moderator in this webinar. I will show you everything through slides, and for sure every question is welcome. Through my speech, I would like to introduce the main topic related to certification, in particular according to what happens here in Italy and in Europe. For sure it is important because leather cannot be a material that guarantees only quality and style, but it must be also a sustainable material, and these cannot be only self-declared, it must be certified. In fact, the customer of our tanneries here in Italy and in Europe ask this from their supplier. And for sure, if you buy Italian leather from Italian tanneries, you are sure that you are buying sustainable material. And now I will show you why. So please feel free to interrupt me if there is something that is not clear. And then at the end, we will have question and answer. Now, let's start with the presentation. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Ok, Aldo, mi dai feedback? Posso andare avanti?
Yes, yes.
Ok,
Perfect.
so I can start. 2 words to introduce ICEC and how we work. ICEC is the Quality Certification Institute in Europe and in Italy, specific only for the leather sector. We work only in this sector and not in other sectors. It means that we are specialized in all the supply chain for tanneries, for brands, for chemicals, and we release to them all the certification. We count almost 25 years of activities. We have been established in late 1994, and we are accredited by Accredia. Accredia is the Italian body of accreditation. It's important to be accredited because it guarantees competence, impartiality, and no conflicts of interest. With voluntary certification of third type, we give the opportunity to the tanneries to do something that is voluntary. So there is not obligation, but it is important for them to have this kind of instrument to improve themselves and improve their product. Another important topic is that through our certification, we guarantee the confidentiality of data, of the data that we see. It's important because when you do an audit, you see many information, many of them are sensitive, and it's important to guarantee confidentiality. And it's our work to do this in the best way that we can. We have a total number of certificates that is more than 270. We have more than 120 certified companies, and about 90% of them are Italian companies, while 10% of them are foreigner companies. We have certification in Serbia, Tunisia, Turkey, Spain, Netherlands. And if you ask why so many certification in Italy, is for sure because in Italy provides 65% of the leather in Europe and 25% of leather worldwide in value. So this is the reason why we have a lot of certified tanneries. ICEC certifies also brands. See?
One moment, please. There is a question that asks, could you please share the presentations with attendees? It means that attendees are not seeing the presentations, or they mean after the presentation, you mean share the slides, send the slides after?
For sure, after the presentation, I can give you the slides, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
and now I'm
after.
showing.
They
okay.
clear the after. They mean after.
Yes, for sure. They are available. My slides will be available for you if you need.
Yes.
Thank you. ICEC certifies also brands, manufacturers, subcontractors, and traders. So all the supply chain. Sustainability is for sure an overused term. And now I want to explain to you our point of view, why sustainability is actually required in the leather sector. For sure, because it's necessary, but also for other reasons, because there are a lot of consumers focused on buying sustainable products. And this is the reason why they ask to buy sustainable products and leather goods that are sustainable. But for fashion houses, for brands, and for tanneries, to be sustainable is a question of being for business. It is done for business because they want to launch new products and they want to increase their image, and for marketing promotion, it's important to be sustainable. But there is another reason why they want to be sustainable. And it is due to the fact that they have to manage the risk related to be attacked by external NGOs or other entities, other parties that they want to attack the leather sector. So all the supply chain have to give guarantees of their sustainability. In front of this kind of risk, they have to give answer, credible answer. So not only for business, for image, but also to manage the risk. And this is the main reason why here in Europe, all the supply chain is working on sustainability. For sure, another question related to this term is the fact that that doesn't come for free. To be sustainable for a tannery means to spend money, to invest money, not only for certification, but for sure to improve themselves. So an average cost for an Italian tannery is about 5% of annual revenue to be sustainable. It's important because sustainability is not for free. And this means that at the end, the final product can be more expensive if it is sustainable. When we speak about sustainability in the leather sector, we have different kinds of components. And in this picture, they are shown. We have three main components. Remember, three components, three areas, which are the environmental, social, and economic ones. And from an environmental point of view, we have to consider the consumption of resources, the waste, the water discharge, the atmospheric emission, and the environmental impact. From a social point of view, what happens in a tannery and in the leather supply chain is that we have to consider human resources, industrial relations, health and safety in the workplace, and the relations with the community. From an economic and the product point of view, we have to consider the consumer protection and safety, traceability, animal welfare, and the transparency of origin, made in. These are all the topics that we deal with and on which we have many kinds of certification. So now the question is how we can give guarantees of sustainability to be sustainable. First of all, sure, we have to consider the situation of laws, because sustainability comes first and foremost from laws and their observance. It's very important because in Europe and in Italy in particular, we have many kinds of laws. They are very strict and well enforced and controlled. And it is important to be sustainable, even if we don't apply voluntary certification. For sure, if we want to go beyond certification, beyond laws, sorry, we have the possibility to apply voluntary certification. And this is the reason why we share our services with all the supply chain of the leather sector. So remember that first we have laws, and beyond laws, we can go applying voluntary certification. Voluntary certifications means that an independent body, it's very important that it is independent, so not involved in the company. And it is important also that the body is qualified, for example, as ICEC is, makes an audit and certifies what? Certifies that an organization or a product is compliant to some requirements of an official standard. So these are the key words of the certification. Independent body, make an audit to what? An organization or a product to be compliant to requirements of an official standard. We have two main typical types of certification. The first is of system and the second is of product. These are the two main big group of certification. The system certification means that the organization of the company is the object that we want to certify and is certified according to management system standard. On the other side, we have the possibility to release product certification. In this case, the product, the leather or the leather good, is certified according to product standard. And this standard can be related to chemical, physical, fastness, traceability, or made-in characteristics. Okay, so these are the two types of certification, system or product. The type of standard, the main type of standard that we can apply are according the international or European or national standard of certification. From an international point of view, we have the ISO standards, International Standardization Organization. In Europe, we have CEN, which is the European National Body of Standardization, and in Italy, we have standards that are the national body of standardization. So these are the main type of standard that we can apply. And it is important also to be accredited. Accredia in Italy is the body of accreditation of ICEC, means that we are controlled by Accredia. We are controlled because to be accredited means that they control us to guarantee competence, reliability, transparency, and impartiality. So when we are accredited, means that we work following this kind of rules. And every year we are controlled in our offices, and we are controlled when we release audit in our tanneries. So it's very important to be accredited in doing certification. The iter of certification in a company means to do on-site an audit in a company, in a tannery, in a brand, or in another company. At the end of the audit, there is the review of the documentation for an independent deliberation. So there is a process of deliberation, and then at the end, we release the certificate. This is an example of a certificate that we can release. So you have the logos, the certificate number, the name and the address of the company, the standard, the activities under certification, and then the dates of release and expire of the certificate. And also at the end of the certificate, you have also the logo of Accredia, which means that this certification is released under accreditation. In Italy, more than 55% of the national tanning turnover belongs to Italian certified tanneries. And 75% of them are certified with ICEC. So we represent a huge part of the certification in Italy. And if you want to see the names of our certified companies, please check in our website, because there is the database with the names of all the companies certified and with all the standards that they have. But now let's go inside the topic of certification. How many kinds of certification we can release in the 3 areas that we told before. The first area is the environmental one. So as we saw in the previous picture, environment means consumption of resources, waste production, wastewater production, atmospheric emission. How we can control this kind of impact? What are the certification? How many certification do we have on this topic to give guarantees to the supply chain and to the customers? First, we have system certifications such as ISO 14001, which is an environmental management system. It is very, very applied here in Italy. Many tanneries have this kind of certification. It's one of the most common certification from an environmental point of view. On the other side, there is also the possibility to apply the EMAS 3. It's an environmental declaration according to an European rules. And as a product environmental certification, there is the standard 11,047, which is ecological leather, which means real leather produced with low environmental impact. And on this topic, I want to give you a focus. In fact, we have to pay attention. There are many synthetic materials on the market which are created from plastic or textile that are coated on the surface and look like leather, but they are not real leather. They cannot be called leather, okay? This material that want to imitate leather cannot be called leather. It's very important. Now you can ask, but the real leather exists or not? yes, the answer is yes, the real leather, ecological leather exists. In fact, as I told you, there is a standard which defines product and process characteristics to be respected to produce a real leather with a low environmental impact. So when you think about real leather, eco leather exists, they have to follow these kinds of standard here in Italy, and it means that they are produced with low environmental impact. And another important topic is that it's applicable to every kind of tanning, not only vegetable tanning, but also chrome tanning leather can be sustainable and ecological. On the second area, social and ethical sustainability, we have to deal with human resources, industrial relations, health and safety in the workplace, and relation with the community. And on this topic, we have this kind of certification. All of them are system certification. The first one is Health and Safety Management System, ISO 14001 now. And on social point of view, we have the SA 8000 Social Accountability, or the standard UNIC Social Accountability, which is a code of conduct and social accountability that we have here in Italy, and which is applied from many tanneries. I want to give you a focus on this because it's an Italian standard. The UNIC Code of Conduct and Social Accountability includes all the contents of SA 8000 and the ILO Convention. And it requires the involvement of suppliers and other subcontractors of the supply chain. The basic principles of this code of conduct are human rights and working conditions, the respect of environment, the community involvement and development, professional behavior, and policy and management. So in this kind of second area, you have standard for health and safety, and you have standard for social accountability. On the third area, the last one, which is the economic and product one, we have to deal with traceability of raw hides and skin, animal welfare, origin, made in, and leather product safety and consumer protection. This is the third and last one area. And here we have many kinds of certification. The most common one, the system one, which is the most common, is the ISO 9001, which is the quality management system. It's very common to apply this certification not only in the leather sector, but in many other sectors. And also in our tannery is very, very well applied. And then you have product certifications related to leathers, according to UNI standard, traceability certification, and made in certification. I think that it should be interesting in this last 5 minutes to make you a focus on traceability and made in, to show you what I mean with this kind of certification. Let's start with traceability. Traceability certification means to be able to follow and identify the making of a product through all the specific stages of the production and also of handling process of this product. When we speak of traceability of leathers, we means the capability to have information on country of origin of the raw hides and skin, the location of the slaughterhouses, the country and location of breeding of the animals. So traceability is related to leather, to animals, to the slaughterhouses, to the farming of them. And through this kind of certification, we want to map this kind of information. We don't accept self-declaration, but we want all the information to be documented. And this is important to apply this certification, which is really very required to assure animal welfare, for example, or also to assure other kinds of guarantees related to critical social or political issues. For example, We have a collaboration also with the Brazilian partner and American partner, with NWF, the National Wildlife Federation, with CSCB, to release certification related to leather of Brazilian origin. As you know, there is the problem of deforestation. So with this kind of certification and with this kind of collaboration, we have created this standard to assure that the leather from Brazil don't contribute to the Brazilian deforestation. It's a very complex topic. For the tanneries, it's not so simple to have this information. Remember this, it's very complex, but through the certification, we are able to have this information and to guarantee to the consumer that the leather assure animal welfare and are not the cause of critical and social and political issues. On the other side, there is the made in. What is made in? Made in is related to the phases of production of leather. So when we say leather from Italy, leather from Spain, leather from Europe, here we are speaking about the geographical origin where the substantial transformation phases of the process are done. And the substantial transformation phases in a tanning process are retanning, fat liquoring, and dyeing. If they are done in Italy, the leather is made in Italy or in another country. Also, the finishing process have to be done in Italy to declare that the leather from Italy. So made in is related to the origin, geographical origin, where the phases of production are done. And at least the substantial transformation of this leather have to be done in a country to declare that that leather is from that country. We have a certification on this. There are a lot of tanneries in Italy having this kind of certification. It's a certification of product, and you can see also the logo that you can find on the leather to guarantee that they are produced in Italy or in another country, because the standard is a European standard, so it can be an Italian leather, leather made in Italy leather, or Spain leather, French leather. So it depends on the country of origin. So I have ended my presentation, but to end my speech, I want to give you the final information related to the fact that we release also a certification of sustainability. We have seen 3 areas of certification: the environmental one, the social ethical one, and the economic and product one. If a company adopts at least one of the standards certified by ICEC for each of the 3 areas, it obtains the certification of sustainability. And we have more than 25 tanneries certified with the sustainability logo. And it's very important because it means that they did a very, they did a lot of certification following this kind of program. So covering the environment, covering the social issues and economic one. And it's important because sustainability means to follow 3 areas and not only one. So to end this presentation, I also wanted to add that the fact that when I speak about fashion brands that wants this kind of certification, I mean luxury international brands such as the brands of Kering Group, LVMH Group, for example, Gucci, Bottega Veneta, Saint Laurent, Louis Vuitton, and many other brands such as Burberry, Hermes, and so on. And also the car and upholstery manufacturers are also getting very close to this kind of issues, even if with a little bit more slowness. And the topics on which luxury brands necessarily ask their suppliers to be qualified are precisely those that I have showed you. And so they are related to environment, to traceability of raw materials, and especially to social responsibility. These three ones. And the brands don't want a self-declaration. They need that their supply chain is audited. And so through certification, we can support this process of qualification of the supply chain in the most professional and concrete way. Okay, now I give you time for question, also to understand after this presentation, which are the issues of greatest interest. Thank you. Please, I ask Aldo to help me in this final 10 minutes to have question and give the answer.
There was already a question about, they say if you can explain more veggie tanning leather. I think they mean eco leather that you just mentioned.
So eco leather, as I told you before, is a real leather, not a synthetic one. And there is the standard that gives to the tannery the characteristic that the leather have to follow to be produced with a low environmental impact. And this standard shall be applied also from leather produced with a chrome tanning, and also for leather produced with a tanning, vegetable tanning. So it means that it's not good to think that only vegetable leather are sustainable and ecological, because you can produce also chromium tanned leather respecting low environmental impact. Okay, and this standard, inside this standard, there are all the rules to be respected to say at the end of the process of certification that these leather are ecological. It's important for me to underline that not only vegetable leather, but also chromium tanned leather shall be sustainable and ecological.
Another question about MRSL certificates. They say MRSL certificates for chemicals manufacturing company is similar as per your review.
Is similar?
As per your view. We can ask to clarify better. Me too, I cannot understand.
What can I say on MRSL is that ICEC is going to be accredited by ZDHC. You know, ZDHC, Zero Discharge of Hazardous Chemical, which is an international program. ICEC is member of ZDHC and is working with chemicals to have the certification on chemical products. And it is very important because in this case, we don't have to check the final leather, chemicals on the final leather, but we will have our check before, during the tanning process. But for sure, I can assure you that it is one of our service to release certifications and to do audit on MRSL and the DHC chemical product program.
Then another question about the difference between our certificates and LWG.
Okay, thank you for this question. First of all, we were born many years before LWG. We have 25 years of activities, and our characteristic of working is exactly what I explained to you during this webinar. For example, to work under accreditation, to be an independent body, to work to guarantee confidentiality of the data. And this is our way of working. And it is different from every kind of private initiatives because we are controlled, we are under accreditation, and we work in a very professional way. about the topics, for sure, LWG covers with their audits the environmental issues, a little part of traceability issues. And as I showed you, our certification covers the same topic. I can say that we are more specific because we don't have only one checklist to cover all the topics, but we have specific certification on each issue. And it is important because through this specific issue, we can guarantee and see every detail on this kind of topics. For example, if I do a traceability audit, I go in a company and I stay there at least half a day to see only traceability. And I ask to my company to give me the list of 12 months of order, of purchase order, and I check everything. And so at the end, my certification, the ICEC certification, is very specific on traceability. And on the same way, it is very specific on environment or other topics. So even if sustainability covers the same topic, because sustainability means environment, traceability, health and safety, we work through specific standards. So you can be sure that we see everything. When we go to a company to see the environment through, for example, the ISO 14001 standard, we stay in that company at least 2-3 days a year. And if we check health and safety through the ISO 14001 standard, we stay in a company at least 5 or 6 days a year. So when you add all this certification, you are completely sure that we have seen everything in the right way. And we also use specific and qualified auditors. So the difference is that on one side, you can have private schemes such as LWG, which works through a checklist of audit, and it's one thing. On the other side, you can have sister certification under accreditation, very specific. So at the end, probably you will have more guarantees on this side. But they are voluntary. You can choose what you prefer. And our aim is to explain to the customers, to you, to our brands, how we work, to give you the assurance that we work in the best way that we can.
Mm-hmm. Then a question, if we can perform certification in India.
Yes, we can. We can using the international standard for sure. So the ISO standards are always applicable worldwide. So the answer is yes. The only problem that you have is a problem of cost, because I have my auditors that are in Europe. So you have to add the cost of the travel that my auditor have to do to go in India. But it is not a problem of standard related to the certification that you need. If there is an ISO standard certification that I mentioned before, for sure we can apply it in Italy, in Europe, and worldwide.
Then, do you separate audit for sustainable leather or sustainability of tannery?
When I speak about sustainability, I speak about the sustainability of the tannery. Because when I give you, as I showed here in this slide, this kind of sustainability certification e-check, it is released to the organization, okay? And it is important because if you want to have a sustainable product, inside of this kind of certification, we have to check the product in which you are interested in. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A certification of products means that you have to choose how product you are interested in, and you have to check it, if it is sustainable or not. You have to think that a company can produce very different kinds of products with different kinds of conditions. So if you want to be sure that a product is sustainable, the object of the certification must be the product, to be sure. Okay.
Then I heard about of Santa Croce project Tubone, about recycling water and waste of tanneries. How is this project running? Maybe I can answer to this.
Yes.
Yeah, the project is not ended by now about the Tubone, but that should be a big collector of wastewater. But there are projects of single tanneries that are starting to reuse the returning, tanning and above all returning wastewaters in the process. So they are mainly going in another direction in this moment. That is that to reuse in the same tannery the wastewater. Then another question, the recent pandemic, so many cancellations, and how can be protected during such situations, having done all norms of certification?
Sorry, Aldo, can you repeat?
Okay. The recent pandemic, so many cancellations, and how can we be protected during such situations, having done all norms of certification?
Now the pandemic situation is a very particular situation. What I can tell you is that the Italian sector soon created a sector protocol which was made by UNIC, the National Tanners Association, and ICEC has a specific certification on COVID to be applied on Italian tanneries. And our audit on this kind of situation is to be sure that every kind of health and safety emergency rules are respected. Because in Italy, we have our government that gives us many rules to be respected to work in this moment, rules related to health, to the fact that we have to use DPI, we have to wash our hands, but many other kinds of things. And so tanneries can work only following these kinds of rules that are not voluntary, but there is an obligation to work in this way. And what we created now is a system of certification, and there are 50 tanneries interested in doing this, and we had already a few tanneries certified. We audited this tannery, and we are sure that they are working respecting all the COVID rules, and so all that the final leather are safe to be sold. This is what I can say. I know that it is not an easy situation from an economical point of view, but be sure that in Italy there are this kind of rules, there are many enforced, controlled, and many tanneries are adding voluntary certification to demonstrate that they are working respecting of all the health and safety rules in this particular moment of emergency.
Okay, then a question from Italy. Hi, Sabrina and Aldo. Every day in the tanneries, our customers requires new audits from third parties body with the metrics that are not accredited. Can you please explain that your certification body is accredited from international bodies?
Yes, in my speech, I told about the accreditation of ICEC. I had a few slides on these. It's right, we have the problem that tanneries, in the tanneries, there are many brands asking to have qualification. They want to come directly and to audit the tanneries. But as I told you, it's important to do the audit in a very professional way with qualified people. And the accreditation, Accredia, which is our national body of accreditation, controls ICEC and guarantees that when we give our activities or audit, they are done well, with competence, with impartiality, professionalism, and confidentiality. All these terms have been used during my presentation. So I told you the importance of being accredited for a body of certification before release a certification. So be careful of any other kinds of private platforms or systems that are not accredited, because you are not sure that they shall work in the right way.
Mm-hmm. Then, what are your views on biodegradable leathers?
It's a technical question related to the research of these on leather. I am an institute of certification, so I don't have a certification on biodegradable leather. There are many technical studies on this. If you can leave me your contact, I can make you in contact with people that are doing studies on this, because for sure leather is biodegradable, but it depends on time and condition of temperature, of humidity, and so if you want to have more information, technical information, I have to keep you in contact with people studying on these matters.
Okay, they are asking me to answer just to two more questions. So I'm looking which are the more interesting for everybody. Maybe this about the difference between SA 8000 and ISO 26000.
SA 8000 is the international standard created many years ago, and it is certifiable, and it is applicable in each kind of sector, and in the leather sector is applied, but not a lot, because it's a very heavy standard, and this is the reason why, for example, here in Italy, UNIC decided to create a national code of conduct and social accountability, which follow the SA 8000 principle, but it is a little bit light to be applied, because to apply SA 8000 means that to do a lot of days of audit, and it's very expensive. But it is a certifiable standard, while ISO 26000 is a guidelines. It's a very huge standard, more than 100 pages of documentation. You can keep some parts of these documents to release your social accountability declaration, but it is not certifiable because it is a guideline.
Mm-hmm. And then a question that says, many brands asks for LWG certificate. Do any brand presses for ICEC certificate?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you for this question, because we know that LWG is one of the qualifications that brands want. But as I told you, it's many. We have many contacts with brands, Caring Group brands, Burberry. Many of these that I told you before are constantly in contact with us. We show them all the contents of our certification because we want them to be recognized. And yes, we are on board with them, and they appreciate, and they also accept our certification to qualify their suppliers. So for sure, we are absolutely good to release certification, and they are well appreciated from luxury brands, because we speak with these brands, and we are able to show them the contents, and they are very happy if their suppliers are qualified with the ISO standard and with the ICEC program. If you want to see the names of the tanneries certified, please see our website in the section of the database, and you have all the names and all the standards that they have certified. And it will be a pleasure for me if you have a look. And if you have any doubt, please write me an email at ecec.ecec.it, And at the end, I will leave you, if you are interested, the slides, so you have all the information that I give you during this webinar.
Okay, so we think we are okay. They asked us to stop here.
Hello, thank you for your
Hello.
presentations again.
Thank you to you all for your time and for this opportunity.
So it's a great honor to have Sabrina and Aldo to present about the sustainability today. So thank you. And I know we still have some questions, and I think those questions we will answer by email.
Yes, for sure. If you have more questions, we are available to answer in a more precise way by mail. Thank you, because now probably the time is over.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So for those who are with us today, please follow APLF social media platform, and we will upload this webinar to our APLF YouTube channels for your sharing as well.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And then on next Tuesday, we have invited the presidents of the Leather and Hides Council of America and the CEO of Medina to discuss the structure and the nature of the cattle and beef industry, and to upcycle byproducts of food production that used for leathers. So make sure you reserve your seat by scanning the QR code here, and you may also find the link in the chat box. So after this one, don't forget to complete the survey to let us know that the topics you are interested in, and we can invite those experts to speak in the future. You may click Exit the webinar, and then it will direct you to the survey. Thanks, everyone. Stay positive, stay connected to each other, and bye-bye.